Incredible moment. Preacher stops wedding after heartwarming discovery about bride's hidden truth. Emily stood at the altar, her heart racing like a runaway train. The sun-drenched church of Belleville, Georgia, was filled with familiar faces, her nurses from the community hospital, childhood friends, and, most importantly, Jake, her childhood sweetheart, who had conquered battlefields but now faced demons of his own. The pews creaked beneath the anticipation of 1,000 hearts holding their collective breath. Emily's smile shone like a beacon, but inside her chest, a tempest brewed, spinning with threads of anxiety and doubt about the future. The preacher's gaze fell on her, his eyes full of wisdom and warmth. He could sense it, the storm hidden behind Emily's joy, the unspoken fear that flickered at the edge of her perfect facade. As vows were exchanged, her thoughts drifted back to her past, an endless series of foster homes, nights where hunger gnawed at her stomach, and a sense of unworthiness that had clawed at her spirit. Despite her successes, the specter of her childhood loomed over her like a dark cloud, whispering lies of shame just as she was about to step into a future filled with love. Emily, the preacher's voice broke through her whirlpool of thoughts, pausing the ceremony with a compassion that sent gasps echoing through the church. Will you share your journey with us? The weight of his request hung in the air, a challenge wrapped in encouragement that invited not only Emily, but the community to confront their perceptions of family and worth. The congregation shifted, tension crackling like static electricity. Tears brimmed in Emily's eyes as she pondered the precariousness of the moment. With a trembling breath, she began to share her story, the heart-wrenching moments of fear and loneliness, the countless times she felt like a burden. As each word spilled forth, a surge of strength flowed into her, a catharsis igniting the hushed room. "You can overcome anything if you believe," she said, her voice tinged with hope. Heads bobbed in agreement, and a soft murmur of support washed over her. The emotion in the church transformed the air, deepening connections among her friends and family, who now saw her not just as a nurse doing her best but a warrior who had battled through life's fiercest storms. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as Emily's eyes met Jake's, a mix of admiration and concern flickered across his face. He understood her pain, felt the weight of her burden. But the question loomed, could love really conquer shadows as deep as those cast by her past? The atmosphere grew thicker with emotion, a kaleidoscope of hope, empathy, and fear binding them closer together as the preacher prepared to resume the vows. The church held its breath, caught in a moment of magical uncertainty. The vows that would follow wouldn't just unite two hearts. They would redefine family and acceptance. Could they rise above the past and create something beautiful together? Locked in each other's gaze, they lingered on the edge of a new beginning, leaving the congregation and readers alike poised in suspense, eager for the next chapter in their extraordinary story. Emily squeezed her eyes shut for a moment, the preacher's words echoing in her mind. She felt small yet mighty, exposed yet empowered. The silence enveloped the church like a warm blanket, but the weight of expectation hung heavy. What would happen next? Would she be ready to say "I do" after laying bare her soul? Jake shifted slightly in his spot, his brow furrowed, casting a shadow on the glowing warmth of the day. Emily wondered if he was feeling the same tangle of emotions she was. His presence was both grounding and thrilling, and the mixture only sparked more questions. Could he truly accept her past? The parts of her that she struggled to embrace? The preacher, sensing the palpable tension radiating from Emily, stepped gently back. Let us take a moment to reflect on what has been shared and what lies ahead. The congregation mused in soft whispers, some reaching for handkerchiefs to dab away tears. Families exchanged glances loaded with understanding. Emily looked around at the faces she recognized, each a piece of her fractured past, now part of this pivotal moment. People she had cared for and who had cared for her echoed her journey of courage and resilience. It felt lighter to know she was not alone. "Emily," Jake said softly, breaking the days like a warm sunbeam piercing through clouds. "You are so much braver than I ever knew." His eyes were fierce with love, mixed with admiration. It gave Emily strength. She took a step forward, breathing in the sweet scent of blooming flowers outside the church. "I never thought I could share my truth like that," she admitted. "I always felt it would drive people away. But I want to be all in with you, Jake. Past and future. Whatever that means." His expression softened, shaking off the layers of fear that had been woven tightly around them. Without hesitation, Jake reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. "I want that too, Em. Every part of you. We'll face it all together." Head nodding, she searched his gaze for signs of doubt but found only resolve. The love they shared felt fiercer than any past heartache. The world outside faded into the background, leaving just the two of them standing in this undeniable truth. The preacher cleared his throat, ready to resume the ceremony. "Emily and Jake, love isn't just about what you can see. It's also about acknowledging what has shaped you and accepting each other fully." With those words, the atmosphere shifted again, settling into a hopeful cadence. The nerves relaxed, wrapping around them like a familiar blanket rather than a shroud as vows began to roll off their tongues. Yet another emotion weaved through the church, a sense of new beginnings. Laughter and bittersweet tears mingled as friends and family felt the weight of Emily's courage and Jake's unwavering support. But just as the preacher asked them to repeat after him, a commotion from the back stirred the air. An unexpected figure stood at the entrance, breathless and urgent. The doors swung wide open, and all heads turned. The stranger's presence felt like an arrow cutting through the moment, as whispers rippled through the church. "Wait," the figure called out, eyes wide and frantic. "You need to hear this." Emily's pulse quickened as uncertainty gripped her anew. What revelation could possibly disrupt the vows that promised to bond them forever? In that brief silence, the atmosphere shimmered with suspense, leaving everyone, especially Emily and Jake, holding their breath in anticipation. The figure at the door took a hesitant step forward, the sunlight spilling in behind them, casting a long shadow. Emily's heart raced as she peered into the stranger's eyes, which sparkled with a sense of urgency. She felt the collective breath of the congregation, a drawn gasp that vibrated through the wooden pews, weighing down the air. "Who are you?" Jake asked, his voice steady but a hint of confusion threading through it. The surprise on his face matched the mystified looks from the guests. The newcomer took another shaky step closer, their chest heaving as if struggling to catch up with the whirlwind of emotions that surrounded them. "I'm sorry to interrupt. My name is Alex. I have something important to share with Emily." A murmur spread through the audience. Eyes darted from Alex to Emily, their glances questioning, searching for context. A vein of anxiety dove deep into Emily's stomach. An intruder? A friend? What could they possibly want? "Please, it's about her past," Alex continued, their voice trembling but resolute. "It's vital she hears this before you make it official." Emily's fingers tightened around Jake's, the warmth that had anchored her now feeling like a lifeline. "What do you mean?" she asked, her breath catching in her throat, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. "What is it?" "All those years ago when you thought you were alone," Alex said, their eyes glistening with a mix of fear and compassion. "You weren't. I was there. I saw everything, and I've come to tell you that it's time to reclaim that part of your life." What was happening? Why was this person here? Emily's world began to tilt. She thought she had left her past behind, buried under the layers of forgiveness she had worked hard to cultivate. Yet, here it was, standing in front of her, demanding attention. "Emily, it's okay," Jake murmured, squeezing her hand. But could it really be okay? Emily's mind whirled, memories flickering like old photographs, moments steeped in pain, secrets she thought she had buried deeply. But there was a lightness there too, a chance for healing that she had yearned for. She took a step closer to Alex, curiosity twisting her heart. "What do you mean I wasn't alone?" It's about what happened on that day, that dark day when you thought your life shattered. You weren't just a victim. You were surrounded by people who cared, people who still want to see you whole, Alex said, voice gaining strength. Including me. Gasps rippled through the audience. Questions buzzed like bees, but all Emily could focus on was Alex's earnest gaze. Each word felt like a door creaking open, revealing shadows from a past she had thought would remain locked away. But was she ready to face it? More importantly, would Jake still love her? Would this make him turn away? Emily, Alex implored, the sincerity bubbling in their wide eyes. You deserve to know what happened. You need to set this free before you can step into your future. Time froze, heavy with what-ifs and maybes. The congregation watched in reverent silence, having unintentionally drifted into the intimate battleground of her soul. Jake's silence hung in the air. Emily turned to him, searching for reassurance. But what if this revelation changed everything? Jake, she started, her voice a whisper. The warmth of his hand remained, but dread washed over her like icy water. Please, Alex urged again. Let me tell you what I've carried all these years. It might just change everything. The stakes felt higher than ever, and the weight of fate bore down upon them. Emily took a deep breath, knowledge mixing with fear. What awaited her on the other side of this revelation? What if the truth was more than she ever bargained for? Emily's heart thudded painfully in her chest, a relentless drum echoing through the silence that had engulfed the room. For a moment, she felt suspended in time, the weight of anticipation pressing down on her like a cool fog. Every flicker of emotion, surprise, anxiety, fear swirled within her. She turned back to Alex, who stood firm, determination radiating from their every pore. Just tell me, she urged, her voice softer now, pleading. What do you know about my past? Alex inhaled deeply, steadying themselves as if they were attempting to ground the chaotic energy in the room. It started long before that tragic day, they explained, their tone gaining momentum. You were part of a community, a family even, who loved and supported you without you knowing it. You were never truly alone. A ripple of murmurs passed through the crowd, and Emily's brow furrowed. Community? Family? She felt lost, grappling with memories that had slipped through her fingers like water, since she had spent years barricading that past behind thick walls. Why didn't anyone tell me? She asked, the hurt in her voice creeping to the surface, glistening like tears held at bay. Because they were afraid, Alex replied, their voice softening as they took another step closer. Afraid of how it would change you, change everything. But the truth has to come out. It's not just about reclaiming your past, Emily. It's about embracing who you really are. Jake's grip tightened around her hand, his bravery shining through despite the storm brewing inside him. Emily, I'm here for you. No matter what, you're still you. Just let us hear what Alex has to say. The words "you're still you" broke through Emily's fear just enough to allow a sliver of hope to shine through. She took a deep breath, and for the first time in years, she felt that perhaps facing the past wouldn't shatter her, but rather rebuild her. Go on, she prompted Alex gently, even though her stomach twisted into knots. Alex nodded, their determination crystallizing. I was there the day everything fell apart. I saw what they did to you, Emily, and I wanted to help. But I was just a kid too scared and small to do anything. After that day, your life changed dramatically, and people thought you needed protection from what happened. But your story, your truth is still out there, and I want to help you find it. As Alex spoke, flickers of recognition began to blossom in Emily's mind. Faces she hadn't thought of in years danced behind her eyelids, a mother's warm embrace, the sound of laughter echoing in the hall, the gentle light of understanding from fellow classmates. A world she had shut away was slowly creeping back. Why now? Why are you telling me this now? She asked, feeling the tears threaten to spill as she grappled with the powerful emotions bubbling inside her. Because you're getting married today, Alex said, their expression softening into something deeply compassionate. Reflecting on old wounds can lead to profound healing. But you shouldn't carry that weight into a new chapter of your life. You deserve closure. Closure. The word lingered in the air between them, a promise unspoken. Emily felt her heart race, hope clashing with the dread of revisiting painful memories. But she understood this wasn't just about the pain, it was about the love that had previously enveloped her life. Jake, she started again, looking into his eyes for strength. I'm right here, Em, he encouraged softly, brushing her cheek with his thumb. Whatever it is, we'll get through it together. She turned back to Alex, who was watching her with unwavering sincerity. What came next would be the hardest part yet, for she had to confront the truth, her truth. The words hung in the air, a delicate thread about to snap. Okay, she said finally, her voice steady with surprising resolve. Tell me everything. The congregation leaned in, a chorus of breaths held in solidarity. Emily could feel their energy surrounding her, a shield of compassion enveloping the impending storm. What if the truth is more than I can handle? She thought fleetingly, but the flicker of determination told her that whatever lay ahead, she wouldn't have to face it alone. As Alex stepped forward, their voice breaking the fragile silence, Emily's own past hung in the balance, a truth she was finally ready to confront. But as the door swung wide open, revealing shadows of her lost childhood, one looming question buzzed in the air. Would the unveiling bring her closer to healing, or would it shatter the very foundations she stood upon? Alex took a deep breath, the tension in their shoulders melting slightly as they leaned closer to Emily. The air crackled with anticipation, every eye in the room locked onto them. You need to know that what happened to you, it wasn't your fault. You were just a child, and a tragedy tore your life apart. Emily's pulse quickened as the memories surged. Her childhood was a riddle, filled with empty spaces where laughter and warmth should have bloomed. Shadows of friends she barely remembered flickered in her thoughts. How could the past hold so much both agony and light? She warily met Alex's gaze, finding strength in their steady expression. Do you remember the music festival? Alex asked gently, easing her into the heart of the story. Her brow knitted together as strands of memory began to unfurl, dim but familiar. I think so. It was my favorite time of year. That's where it all changed. The moment when everything unraveled. Alex continued. It was a bright day, one filled with laughter and love. But then, there was an accident. A riot broke out and you were caught in it. Tears pricked her eyes. I remember being scared, lost. But I never knew it turned into a riot. They were supposed to protect you, Alex affirmed, their voice thick with emotion. After that day, people claimed they were doing it for your safety. They kept you away from the truth, afraid if you learned about it, you would fall apart completely. Emily was overwhelmed. So, they just wiped my memories like they didn't matter? No, your memories are a part of you, and I know they're haunting, Alex said urgently. But they also contain pieces of love and connection. You had a community even if it was hidden from you. She felt Jake's hand squeeze hers tighter. His presence anchored her. What do you mean? What community? The people who loved you, Alex said. Your friends, your family, they were fighting to get you back. They couldn't stand to see you suffer, so they kept silent. They thought you needed saving in a world that was already trying to forget you. Emily's heart ached. The words hung like a delicate crystal in the air, shimmering with a promise of remembrance, but tinged with bitterness. But I was robbed of my past. All those moments I could have shared, Alex nodded, their eyes reflecting understanding. But if you embrace the truth now, you can reclaim those moments. You aren't lost anymore, Emily. No more hiding. You're on the edge of discovery. The assembled crowd seemed to breathe in unison, their expressions a mixture of empathy and hope. Emily's own breath felt unsteady as the weight of their attention pressed upon her. Imagine uncovering all the love that's been waiting for you. It's time to heal, to redefine your story, Alex urged, their voice steady and full of promise. The thought sent a shiver of both dread and exhilaration through her. Could she really confront this past? Could she embrace the love that was always meant for her? Jake leaned closer, his whisper barely audible. You're so strong, Em. Whatever happens, I'll be right by your side. Are you ready to take the next step? Alex inquired, their eyes shining with sincerity. Emily's heart raced. She knew this choice would change everything. The memories still felt like jagged shards. Meeting them head-on was daunting, yet within those shards lay fragments of her true self waiting to be shaped anew. With a trembling exhale, she nodded. "I want to know. I'm ready." In that moment, clarity washed over her. This moment could be cathartic. A promise of growth and healing could arise from the ashes of her concealed past. As the crowd held their breath, a sudden noise erupted from the back, muffled chaos that seemed to shake the ground beneath her feet. What could possibly go wrong now? The door swung wide as an unexpected figure burst into the room, and the atmosphere shifted dangerously. The truth of her past was on the verge of uncovering, but before she could comprehend the danger lurking, a new uncertainty invaded the space. Who had just entered, and how would they change everything? The figure in the doorway was tall, shrouded in a dark coat, and as their eyes swept the crowd, a mixture of fear and recognition rippled through the room. A murmur traveled among the gathered faces. Emily's heart raced, each beat pounding like a drum in her chest. "Who are you?" she managed to ask, voice betraying her unease as she instinctively stepped closer to Jake. His presence, solid and resolute, felt like a shield against the unknown. The stranger took a hesitant step forward, pushing back the hood that concealed their features. The room fell eerily silent. Emily's breath hitched. "It's me, Emily. It's Aaron." A wave of confused emotions washed over her. Aaron? The name spun through her mind, an echo buried deep within her hidden memories. She recalled laughing voices, shared secrets, and the feeling of warmth in the sun, but it was all a blur. "Aaron," she whispered, "I don't remember you." Jake's grip on her hand tightened as he looked between her and the newcomer. "How do you know her? Why are you here?" There was an edge in his voice, protective, but also bewildered. "I came to find you," Aaron declared, his voice urgent, cutting through the thick tension. "I didn't know what happened to you. We thought you were lost forever." Emily's stomach twisted. "What do you mean? Lost forever? What happened?" "After the festival." Aaron hesitated, eyes darting to the assembled crowd, his fists clenched as if holding back a flood of emotions. "People said you were fine. They said you didn't want to see us. But I knew," he continued, determination rising in his tone. "I knew you were taken from us. We fought to bring you back." Pieces began to fit together in Emily's mind, and yet so much was still missing. Fought? Who fought? Why? There were protests, we demanded answers. Aaron's voice cracked as he stepped closer, vulnerability shining in his eyes. "We loved you, Emily. You were part of our lives, and no one tried harder to shield you than we did. But they kept us away. They made it seem like you were better off without us." Those words resonated deep within her. Love wrapped around the fragments of her lost childhood, but anger surged with them. Her memories were like ripples in a lake, clear but distorted. What had they all been through in her absence? But the urgency in Aaron's eyes was undeniable. "You need to understand there's more to this story. You didn't just lose your memories. There are people, powerful people, still trying to silence the truth." Her pulse quickened at the implications. What truth? The grip on her heart tightened as a mix of excitement and dread brewed inside her. What had she been shielded from? What secrets had lingered in the shadows all this time? Before Aaron could respond, a booming voice erupted from the back of the room, ricocheting off the walls. "Enough!" A hefty man, with a significant presence and a badge on his coat, stepped forward. "This is not the time or place for this discussion." The crowded room tensed. Eyes darted between Aaron and the newcomer as tension charged the atmosphere. Emily felt the world closing in on her. "Wait," she called out, realizing this was her moment. The truth she had been desperate for was within reach, but also burdened with danger. No one can silence me anymore. Could she stand firm against whatever came next? Would she finally uncover the depth of her past? Or would it all collapse under the weight of someone else's agenda? With her heart pounding, she faced the unexpected intruder, ready to reclaim what was rightfully hers. And as the room held its breath, everything hung in the balance, vulnerable yet potent with possibility. Who would emerge victorious in this battle for her truth? The answer felt closer than ever, but it could also shatter everything she thought she understood. Emily's voice echoed in the stunned silence, challenging the man's authority with a surge of courage she didn't know she possessed. The crowd held its breath as if waiting for a storm to break. Her heart raced, each beat drumming a rhythm of defiance. "Who are you to decide what the truth is?" she shot back, eyes blazing with a newfound determination. She was tired of being silenced, tired of the shadows looming over her life. Jake squeezed her hand tighter, his silent support weaving strength through her words. The man stepped closer, his brow furrowed. "You don't understand the danger you're inviting, Emily. The past is a dangerous place. But it's my past," she snapped back. "If anyone deserves to know what happened, it's me." Her voice rang out, clear and full of fervor. Aaron was behind her, eyes wide with a mix of awe and approval. "You tell them, Emily." As the lines of tension deepened on the man's face, Emily felt the energy shift in the room. The crowd, once merely spectators, began murmuring among themselves. She could see their hope reflected in their wide eyes, their desire for change palpable. "Listen to her," one voice called from the back, emboldened by Emily's stand. "She has the right to know." Another voice chimed in, "We've been waiting for this moment." The man in front of her shifted, his bravado starting to waver. "You're not ready for what comes next, Emily. Sometimes ignorance is protection." But Emily felt the stirrings of her past clawing at her from the depths of her mind. "Protection?" she repeated, her voice low but fierce. "Is that what you call it? Keeping me away from the people who cared for me?" A flicker of recognition crossed his face, and she sensed a crack forming in his facade. "You need to understand, Emily, there are powers at play that you don't know about, and I intend to know." She interrupted, shoving past the impulse to cower. "You can't keep hiding the truth. I refuse to be a pawn in your game." With each word, the tension in the air thickened. She faced the crowd, her heart a roaring storm. "I'm ready to hear everything. No more lies, no more shadows." Jake looked at her, his admiration palpable. "You're incredible," he murmured, and the warmth of his gaze fueled her resolve. As Emily turned back, the man took a step back, uncertainty creeping into his stance. He glanced around, the crowd's energy shifting toward her, like a tide turning in her favor. "Very well," he grumbled, voice hoarse. "But know that once the truth is out, it cannot be taken back." "I understand," she replied, a fierce glint in her eyes. "It's time for the truth, no matter how messy it may be." "Then let us step outside," he relented, directing a nod toward the door. "We'll discuss this where we can't be overheard." Without hesitation, Emily tucked her hand into Jake's, exchanging a look that spoke volumes. The warmth of unity surged between them, but inside, a storm brewed. What lay ahead was uncertain, but she was prepared to uncover the depths of her past as they moved toward the exit. A haunting thought lingered. Would this revelation finally grant her peace, or would it unravel everything she held dear? The door swung open, the cool air hitting them like a wave. Emily knew this was the pivotal moment of her life, and even though uncertainty clawed at her heart, she welcomed it. Everything depended on what was about to unfold. Would the truth liberate her, or trap her in ways she couldn't foresee? The moment they stepped outside, the air hit Emily like a splash of cold water. The sun had dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the pavement. She felt the weight of the crowd behind her, their stares intense and almost palpable, like fingers brushing against her skin. The man glanced around, ensuring no one was too close. "Okay, let us talk. But know this, the truth can hurt, can shatter everything you thought you knew." Emily pressed her lips together, resisting the urge to back down. Jake stood beside her, providing an anchor in the swirling sea of uncertainty. "I'm ready," she said firmly, her pulse quickening with each word. The man sighed, running a hand through his hair before looking Emily in the eyes, his expression grave. "Your parents, they weren't who you think they were. They hid things, dangerous things." Her breath hitched, just for a moment. "What do you mean? Are you saying they lied to me?" "No, they protected you," His gaze shifted, avoiding her piercing stare. There were threats, forces that wanted to use you, manipulate you. They thought keeping you away from the truth would keep you safe. Emily's heart sank. Safe? By keeping secrets? Is that supposed to be love? Sometimes love means making hard choices, he replied, the tension tightening around his words. The chilly breeze wrapped around them, heightening the stillness of the moment. So what was I meant to be? A pawn in their game? She asked, her voice barely a whisper, but filled with fury. More than that, you were seen as a weapon, a way to control something much larger. He paused, the weight of his next words hanging heavily in the air. You have abilities, Emily. They didn't want a repeat of the past. A shiver ran down Emily's spine. Abilities? What kind of abilities? Her mind flickered back through the year's moments that felt off. Strange occurrences she brushed aside. What past? She asked, her curiosity igniting alongside her fear. The man stepped closer, lowering his voice. Your parents were involved in something significant. The kind of thing that could alter the balance of power in ways you can't even imagine. Jake shifted beside her, confusion etched on his face. What exactly are you saying? That she has superpowers or something? Not superpowers, but a connection, a lineage. It's hard to explain. He glanced over his shoulder, as if expecting someone to leap out from the shadows. You have to trust me. There are people, factions, who can get to you if they realize you know. You're safer here, out of sight. Right now, you're vulnerable. Vulnerable? Emily echoed, trying to wrestle all this new information into coherence. Why? What do they want from me? They want to control you, he said simply, his breath visible in the crisp evening air. They'll stop at nothing. The gravity of his words hung like a storm cloud, suffocating her with dread. But as she turned to Jake, he caught her eyes with a steady gaze. Emily, we can face this together, no matter what it is. The man nodded, seeming to acknowledge their unity. That's important. But you also have to be careful. From now on, everything depends on how you move forward. The truth loomed like a shadow overhead. She could feel the weight of what lay ahead, the fear of the unknown digging its claws into her gut. But something else surged within her too, a flicker of hope. Tell me everything, she said, standing a little taller. I won't hide anymore. The man stepped back, eyes widening slightly. If you want the full story, you need to be prepared for the possible fallout. Are you truly willing to open that door? Suddenly, a loud noise cut through the evening air, a siren, low and ominous, echoing like a warning bell. Emily spun, heart racing, her instincts screaming that they weren't safe. But she met Jake's eyes again, feeling the warmth of his hand envelop hers. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. And as darkness began to settle around them, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to change in ways she hadn't anticipated. Would she finally find the answers she sought, or would the truth lead them into a new kind of peril? What other secrets awaited her reflection in the depths of her family's history? Emily felt a rush of cold air sweep through the street, as if the evening itself were alive, waiting for a reaction. The siren wailed again, a stark reminder that they weren't alone. Her heart raced, blood pounding in her ears. She turned back to the man, the intensity of his gaze urging her to act. Go, he insisted, his voice urgent. We can talk later, but right now you need to get somewhere safe. As the words registered, Emily's thoughts whipped around her like a storm. Safe? Where? She glanced at Jake, who nodded, his jaw set in determination. They didn't have time to waste. Come on, Jake urged, taking hold of her hand and starting to lead her away. They ducked into a nearby alley, the shadows wrapping around them like a comforting cloak. What about him? She asked, eyes darting back at the man. He had taken a step back, scanning the area, his expression betraying a flicker of fear amidst his calm demeanor. I'll be fine, he assured, but his voice was strained. Just keep moving. Trust me. With one final glance, they slipped further into the alley, where the scent of damp earth mingled with the lingering fragrance of urban life. Emily's heart sank with each step away from the man who had just shattered her world. What had been intended as a quiet evening now felt like an obstacle course of danger. What do you think he meant? Jake pressed, looking back at her, concern etched into his features. About your parents? About abilities? Emily opened her mouth to respond, but her thoughts were a tangle of questions and fear. I don't know, I need to understand. I can't go back to the way things were. Jake squeezed her hand tighter. We won tea, but let us keep moving for now. We can figure it out together. They emerged from the alley onto a street buzzing with life, but none of it felt right anymore. Emily felt like an outsider looking in. People chatted and laughed, completely unaware of the turmoil brewing just beneath their own surface. They don't know, do they? She murmured, glancing at the strangers. They don't know what's at stake. They don't have to, Jake replied softly. Let us keep it that way for now. We can't let whoever we're running from see us. As they navigated through the crowd, Emily's mind raced with memories, the odd things that had happened throughout her life. A light flickering, a dream that felt too real, an inexplicable knowledge of how to mend the broken. All had felt normal at the time, but now they felt like pieces of a larger puzzle. Wait, she said suddenly, stopping in her tracks. What if I really do have abilities? What does that even mean? Jake halted beside her, frowning. Sounds like a pretty big deal. But we don't have answers yet. Remember that man said there are people who would use you. Emily's stomach turned. But I can't ignore it. I feel different, like there's something waiting for me to discover it. Her hands trembled, uncertainty flooding her mind. Okay, then let us find out together. But we need to be careful and clever, Jake said, leaning in. If we draw attention, who knows what will happen. As night crept closer, the shadows grew longer and Emily felt the weight of the world pressing in on her. What if we can't find the answers? What if we spend all this time running only to hit a dead end? Her voice quivered with raw emotion. We won tea, stop looking, Jake assured her, his eyes steady, filled with determination. You're not alone in this. They rounded a corner, heading toward a quiet park, the sound of the crowd fading into the background, replaced by the rustling leaves. Emily took a deep breath, feeling the chill of the night settle against her skin. What could possibly lie ahead for them? And as the moon peeked through the clouds, she realized that her journey was just beginning. Would the truth empower her or drag her deeper into chaos? Before she could respond, a figure brushed past them, sending a jolt of recognition through Emily. She turned, heart leaping, and there, in the fading light, stood someone from her past, someone who might just hold the key to everything. Emily? The figure called, voice shaky yet familiar. Is that really you? Emily's heart leapt as the voice echoed through the dimming park. She squinted, trying to make out the silhouette. As the figure drew closer, the familiar features emerged from the shadows. Maya? She gasped, disbelief washing over her. Maya? A childhood friend, whom Emily had lost track of in the chaotic whirlwind of her past, stood before her, eyes wide with astonishment and emotion. I can't believe it's really you, Maya exclaimed, rushing forward to embrace her. The moment felt surreal, sudden and grounding, like finding a piece of herself that had been missing. Emily hugged Maya tightly, her heart racing with joy and confusion. What are you doing here? How did you find me? I've been looking for you for so long, Maya said, stepping back to look into Emily's eyes, her expression a mixture of joy and urgency. I heard about your marriage today and knew I had to come. There is so much you need to know about all of us, about your past. Jake remained a step behind, observing this reunion with a mix of curiosity and protectiveness. What do you mean? He asked, an edge in his voice. Maya met Jake's gaze. Emily isn't just a victim of her past. There are things about her family, about her abilities, it's all connected. We are connected. Emily's thoughts spiraled. What abilities? What do you mean? Maya took a deep breath. I've been searching for you ever since that day when everything happened. I wasn't the only one who cared. There was a group friends, family, we never stopped fighting for the truth. Things were kept from you to protect you, but we wanted you to be part of it all. Emily's emotions were a boiling pot ready to spill over. Why didn't anyone come for me? Why didn't you try harder to find me? Maya shook her head, tears filling her eyes. We did, but they made it impossible. Powerful people, Emily, people who wanted you to forget. Everyone was afraid, but I never stopped believing you could reclaim your story. With every word, Emily felt the cracks in her understanding widen. But they erased me from their lives, from the world, she whispered desperately. Because they were afraid of what you could become. Maya said, her voice firm yet tender. You have gifts, Em. They were afraid you'd be used as a weapon against those who wanted to silence your family. But you're strong. You're not just a survivor. You have the potential to be something extraordinary. Emily turned to Jake, searching his face for reassurance. He looked back at her, a steady light in her turmoil. Whatever this is, whatever they want you to be, you're still you. We'll face it together, he said softly. Maya continued, her voice becoming more urgent. They still want to use you, but you're not a pawn anymore. You have a choice. Now, as an adult, you can decide your own fate. And right now, you need to choose to stand with those who love you. At that moment, a gust of wind blew through the park, rustling the leaves and carrying whispers of the past. Emily stood in the embrace of her childhood friend, feeling both lost and found, caught in the crossroads of who she had been and who she could become. The sirens from before echoed in the distance, a reminder that danger lingered. But amidst the uncertainty, something within her hardened. I'm ready, Emily declared, each word firm. I want to know the truth. I want to reclaim my life. The moment felt electric. Everything she had been through, every struggle, had led her to this point. The truth was no longer something to fear. It was the key to her freedom. Maya nodded. Jake's hand squeezed Emily's. No matter what you uncover, I'll be here, he affirmed, his eyes shining with love and promise. Maya, let us go, Emily said, her voice steady with newfound strength. Lead the way. It's time to face whatever comes next. As the three of them set off together, a sense of purpose filled Emily's heart. The past would no longer dictate her future. She would forge her own path, with the support of those who truly cared. With every step, she felt lighter. The weight of her hidden truth transformed into the fuel of her determination. And as they walked, the shadows of her past began to fade, revealing a horizon filled with infinite possibilities. The journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty, but Emily now saw it as an adventure, one she was ready to embrace. It was time to uncover her true self, ready to stand tall against whatever forces awaited her. This was her moment, the first step toward a brighter future, where she would become not just a survivor, but a warrior for her own destiny. Now, here's where you come in. You need to subscribe now to catch every moment of transformation in Emily's story and others like it. Leave a like right now to show your support and help us grow this community of strength. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this journey. We want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know they aren't alone in their fight. Let us build a movement of hope together.